الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى أصحابه المنتجبين وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise is due to our Creator, our Cherisher, our Nourisher and our Sustainer. We witness there's none worthy of worship but Allah. We bear witness, we believe in all the prophets, and we bear witness that Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam is the final of all the emissaries of Allah. Respected ulama, elders, brothers and sisters, I can't say youth because many of the youth are off for exams, and of course many of the staff and students. So you see the mosque is half empty, or more 500 or 600 of them have gone to either home after the exam or have gone to the janazah of one of our teachers here, and the brother of our Sheikh, Sheikh Fuad has passed away, as you know, for the janazah. So I greet all of you, ulama, elders, brothers and sisters, with the Islamic universal greeting of peace. May the peace, the mercy and the blessings of Allah be upon each and every one present here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Each and every human being, by virtue of being human, is considered as honorable in the estimation of Allah. And this is evident from the Quranic verse, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And within that Bani Adam, within that larger human family of humanity, there exists this fraternity, this ikhwah, constituting what we call an ummah, a global community of faith. A faith whose followers are those who tread in the path of the deen of Muhammad and all the prophets who came before him, peace be upon them. Adherence to an ideology, a philosophy of living, a practical religion, a comprehensive way of life, which was implemented throughout history by various prophets, peace of Allah be upon them. And we are the ummah, designated as the khayra ummah, the best of communities. Ukhrijat linnas, evolved for humanity. And we are intended to be an ummatan wasata, litakunu shuhada ala nas. We intended to be a balanced community. We are meant to be a median community, an exemplary community that serves as a standard and a model for the rest of humanity, as the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is a standard and a model for all of us and for all of humanity. It is in the absence of that balance, of that moderation, that you find extremism may creep in, and wasatiyya, that ummatan wasata, is supposed to be an antidote to what we call in Arabic ghulu, or excessiveness, tanattu, harshness, tashaddud, severity, and of course tatarruf, the extreme. And this power seeks to attract hard people towards the sirat al-mustaqim. It does it by emphasizing justice and beauty of our faith. And Islam, which is a civilizational force, a way of life that is spiritually enhancing. Islam is morally uplifting. It is socially relevant, and it's universally applicable. It's not more suitable for any people at a particular time. Islam was not more suited to the Meccans time of Rasulullah than it is to the community living somewhere in Switzerland today. It is applicable, universally applicable spiritually enhancing, uplifting, socially relevant. And we as Muslims, all as individuals, forgive us, have the responsibility of reflecting Islam, which has always been a comprehensive movement. At its head, a program for spiritual development, its emphasis on sincere devotion, the observance of divine guidelines and commandments, implementation of the prophetic example of the Sunnah, concern for the environment as a whole, focusing on the reform of human society, emphasizing on justice for all, and empowering of every dimension of human potential. And therefore, this notion of وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُم فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُم مِّنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, this verse of the Quran, where it makes reference that Allah has honored the progeny of Adam. And if Allah acknowledges as the divine that He honors the children of Adam, which we call takrimullahi lil insan, how Allah the divine honors the human being, then it is necessary for us to have takrimul insan li nafsi, that we ourselves, in keeping with the sunnah of Allah, that we also respect our humanness and our humanity. As living beings, we realize that life is dynamic, and so is human society. And one of the characteristics of dynamism is that it generates differences, perspectives, attitudes, understandings, cultures, traditions. And of course, any form of difference has a tendency at times to generate some degree of friction. And while we try to safeguard the right to differ, to question, to dissent, even to protest, we must at the same time strive to secure that our differences in every sphere, whether religious, philosophical, scientific, social, economic, political, all of these should cause us to act and react beneficiently and not destructively. This is the image and understanding of Islam that we have. Recent international headlines really reflect a totally different image of Islam and Muslims from the one that I have just described. The blatant and negative image of Muslims and what Islamic governments are, from the apparent disappearance of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, has caused tremendous damage to the image of Islam and Muslims. Turkish officials say 50 Saudis flew in to Istanbul in the time and period just before the disappearance of Khashoggi, who's by the way a Saudi, a Madani, advisor to the former king, and a Washington journalist. And they claim to have audio recordings where he is being interrogated and even tortured and murdered, and Allah knows best. But all of us affect us as Muslims for two reasons, among others. One, because the alleged perpetrators of killing in a consular office was said to have been done with the knowledge of a regime that rules over our sacred sites. It's not just any country. I don't have to go here. I don't have to go to Bangladesh. I don't have to go to Jordan. I love Egypt. I don't have to go to Egypt. I don't have to go to Iran or Iraq. But Haramain is in Mecca and Medina is in Saudi hands, in Saudi Arabia, the only country named after a family, by the way. People who are in charge of our sacred sites, who are supposed to be the poster image of what Sharia rule would be. So that's our first concern. Because when we condemn what happens in Israel, we condemn all the Zionists and those who are inclined towards them. We don't say it's one government, all the people are not like that. So when others do it to us, we should be equally acceptable and accepting of that kind of mentality. Not that it is accurate, but this is the image. This is Sharia, The land, Holy Land, which you all go to, and by the way, which is a $220 billion a year in the. Secondly, and worry myself, especially after today's khutbah, if this is done to a Saudi in a consulate, and you know, a consulate or a embassy is protected by the Vienna Convention. It is the safest place on earth. That if a person goes into an embassy and asks for protection, even if he's not from that country, and that embassy accepts him or her as a refuge, provides him with refuge, not even the government of that country can come into that office. If they want to, they need permission. That's why they took 12 days before the Turkish could put their foot in the Saudi consulate. Now, if the safest space anywhere in the world for people politically is to go into a consulate, and then you are killed by the people who are supposed to be your countrymen, the ones who would most likely defend you from all the people in the world, what do you think could happen to people like us when you go for Hajj? You can get missing, my friend, and nobody would know it. You expect your own to protect you. Jamal Khashoggi is a Saudi, he's not American, he lives in America. But he is a Saudi. From Medina. Former advisor. He's not anti-monarchy, by the way, he's anti the crown prince, but he's pro-monarchy, by the way. Don't get me wrong. So if this insider could be killed, God forbid what could happen to any of us. You see? ऐसे लोग कांटों से बच के चलते हैं, हमने फूलों से जख्म खाई है. Poet says, people are afraid, avoiding the thorns so they don't get hurt. I've been stung by the prick of the rose itself. In other words, the one that you least expect to harm you is the one who has damaged you. It's not the first time, people. A prime minister of a foreign country was held hostage 1 year, for 1 month last year in Saudi Arabia. Minister Hariri, Saad Hariri of Lebanon, and made to resign and then sent back. People who have gone missing have been abducted. Besides outside people, Prince Sultan bin Turkey was abducted from Jeddah and taken to Saudi. Prince Turki bin Bandar al-Saud, Saud bin Saif al-Nasr, who's still missing, by the way. Then in 2017, November, 60 senior figures, 49 high-ranking individuals, including 11 princes. And if you want some names, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, nephew of Saudi king, owner of the four which we go to, for those who have the money. Prince Mete bin Abdullah, the last son of the late King Abdullah. Ibrahim Al-Asaf, former finance minister. Adil Faqih, economy minister. Prince Turki bin Abdullah, governor of Riyadh, ex-minister and businessman, as well as other people like Salah Abdullah Kamil, the founder of Al-Baraka Bank. Ibrahim Al-Asaf, former finance minister of Saudi Arabia and director of Aramco. Khalid bin Abdullah bin Aziz, Abdullah Al-Mulhim, former director general of Saudi Airlines. Shuyukh were still in jail. Sheikh Safar Al-Hawali, Salman Al-Auda, Awad Al-Qarni, Ali Al-Umari, among other people. Sheikh Nimr was executed. So it's not far-fetched. But a large number of practicing Muslims don't say anything about this. Not because they love the regime, but because they fear that they may be denied pilgrimage. And don't forget, some of our people also get free tickets to go for Hajj and Umrah annually. So silence is bought. Thank God, alhamdulillah, I have many faults of my own. I've never taken a single cent from the Saudis at any time. So where all the tower of kufr and attack, and it's silent. Where all those outrage, the worst humanitarian crisis at present is in Yemen. Go see UNICEF reports, go see UN reports. There's no khutbah given about Yemen. If it's politically not appropriate, suddenly religiously we are quiet. It's part of our hypocrisy. Where are the outcries? Where are the condemnation? The image of Islam is at stake. I don't even go into the Yemen war and facts and figures. I would have gone more into detail with that, but time does not permit. We are saddened by the passing of Sheikh Fuad, who was co-imam with me many years ago at Gatesville Masjid, Al-Quds. He's still there. He's a colleague here with me. He was a student of mine for Qira as well. A teacher here at Islamia. He has passed on. A young man, very strong, black belt. So always tease him with that. He's not here today. We were intending, and we're still inshallah having for him a Cancer Awareness Foundation program that they're going to launch this weekend here at Islamia. The Gatesville Masjid is doing it, but we're having it here. But the brother is no more. He passed away, and his janazah will be after Jumu'ah. And for those, some people may want to rush and go to Gatesville Masjid. The Jumu'ah will be done immediately after Jumu'ah. And for those who may not be able to go because of the traffic, and we will be having Salatul Ghaibah. For those who want to, after the Sunnah Salah, you can remain behind, and we'll do that. And perhaps we can go to Pakistan if you want to after that. But I want us to reflect on this about death. We know that kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, that each and every living thing must die eventually. There is no avoidance of birth or death. There's no avoidance of birth. You don't choose your birth, and there is the reality of death. No avoidance of birth or death, except to utilize the interval between birth and death in an effective manner. That's what life is all about. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. And we realize Allah did not make this world a permanent place. That this is a temporary world and everything here is finite and all things have a time limit. Neither are the good things forever, nor are the bad things eternal. But faith does not prevent death. Death is a reality of life, as the poet says, Zindagi maut ka bahana hai. Life is an excuse, death is a reality. But faith does provide a philosophy of living. Faith does put our grief in perspective. It emphasizes the reality of life and the inevitability of death in the larger context of our existence. And that is why patience is so strongly emphasized as a means of coping with the trials and tribulations of daily living. And therefore, over the Quranic reminder, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. A reminder that sure, you will be tested. You must be tested. The prophets were tested, and they were the best of people. The Sahaba were tested. The families of the prophets, peace be upon all the prophets, and blessings upon all the companions and families who followed them. Be sure that you shall be tested with some form of fear, some form of hunger, some loss of property, some loss of life, loss of the fruits of your labor. But glad tidings to those who persevere, who realize ilayhi raji'un is our return. I had a different khutbah about the Saudi, and I asked half an hour to something different, and that's why I have chosen to with reference to you with a thought by Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i wrote about taqwa, and it makes you think very much, and I think it calculates for us, the way of living and what we're experiencing, because the words can't express grief. So Shafi'i said, كنت غافلا إلى حيث لا تدري كيف تخلق والله راق خلق الطير والحوت في البحر. It is upon you to have consciousness of Allah at times when you become forgetful. Sustenance will come to you from avenues in you. How can you be a poverty when Allah is the provider? Don't you see? And the mighty eagles, they soar differently, fly differently, and they eat different things, yet both of them receive their provision. ومن ظن أن الرزق يأتي بقوة ما عصفور شيء عسكري الدنيا فإنك لا تدري إذا قيل هل تعيش إلى الفجر. He goes on to say, you know, the world goes on by you, the world goes by, and you don't know whether you will survive the cover of the night to witness the unveiling of the dawn. فكم من صحيح مات من غير علة وكم من سقيم عاش حينا من الدهر. He says, how many healthy people who you thought were healthy died without a reason, and how many are there who may be sickly and still survive for a long time. وكم من فتى أمسى وأصبح ضاحكا وأكفانه في الغيب تنسج وهو لا يدري. How many youth go to sleep laughing with fun and joy. They know that the following day by sunset they will be buried. وكم من صغار يرتجى طول عمرهم وقد أدخلت أجسامهم متى القبر. And how many little ones died for long life and ambition of what they're going to do, but the only place they went into was they entered the darkness of the grave. وكم من عروس زينوها لزوجها وقد قبضت أرواح ليلة القدر. And preparing himself for a bridegroom, but instead of being embraced by the lower hand of grave that day. فمن عاش ألفا وألفين فلا بد من يسير إلى القبر. Shafi'i says, how long can you live? 1,000 years? 2,000 years? Realize, no doubt, a day will come, you will have to go. As the Quran says, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِكْكُمُ الْمَوْتُ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Wherever death will come and fetch you. Wherever you are, death will come and fetch you. Even if you are in fortresses, in fortified places where you have guards around you, death will come and fetch you. I want to leave you with a collective thought. Whether it be our feeling for those who are being oppressed and killed, whether in prisons or wherever they are, those who are victims of war and oppression and injustice, whether it be the passing of our brother Sheikh Fuad. Nothing affirms our humanity more than our capacity to empathize. Nothing affirms our humanity more than our capacity to have love and compassion and feeling, to empathize. It is this frame of heart that enables us to feel the agony of the pain experienced by others and to treat others as we ourselves would like to be treated. As the Sufis say, "Oh Allah, let people treat me tomorrow the way I have treated them today." Be you the one who sets the standard for others. Do our best to make the world a better place and to make it a better place, one good deed at a time. And to do the best in life and to live the best of the ability, to do the best we can with every moment that we have as long as we live. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Before I give the khutbah, I want to meet our brother teacher, the brother of our Imam here, Sheikh Ismail, his brother Sheikh Fuad, who's the Imam at Gazwal Masjid and also a teacher at school, has passed on. May Allah grant him maghfirah and Jannah. His Janazah Salah is at the Gazwal Masjid. Because everybody will not be able to make it in time to be there. Those of us who are may not make it to the masjid itself, for the immediately after Sunnah Salah, immediately after Sunnah Salah, before you make your nafil, we make Salatul for him, for those who join us. So at least you are part of those making dua. May Allah accept from us, inshallah. Last announcement, people sitting at the back, alhamdulillah, may Allah bless all of us. But from next week onwards, the seating of the chairs will back. It will be here where people are sitting in front here, area here, this area here, and there at the back as well. So all seats will be placed, 2 or 3 rows there, 2 or 3 rows there, and 2 or 3 rows here. So it's easier for the flow of people. Inshallah, those who are there, alhamdulillah, have always been there, so it's good for today. But inshallah, from next week, there will be no chairs for Jumu'ah.